All right, a bit of an undertaking here, but we're gonna attempt Neapolitan pizza from scratch, all the way from my first pursuit with pizza dough to finishing this bad boy in this spaceship, which is a Gozney Roccbox. Let's go. Okay, our pizza dough is a bit of a science project, hence the scale. We're gonna start with 500 grams of 00 flour. I didn't have any idea what that was before we started this process. Really trying to get this down to 500. Come look, that's 500 on the dot. Next up, 8 grams of kosher salt. Now we're gonna give this a little whisk, a little dry whisk. All right, next step is kind of a weird one. Another thing I've never heard of, which is tepid water. 2 parts cold water, 1 part hot, to bring this thing to a scientific lukewarm. So about 350 grams-ish. 353, close enough. Lukewarm, I guess, I've just learned, is 105 degrees Fahrenheit, so we'll see where we're at. 104, I'd call that 105. That thing was airtight, it's letting out air. Into our 350 grams of tepid or lukewarm water, half a teaspoon dry yeast. If you have fresh yeast, use that. We do not, so we're using dry yeast. Okay, now we're gonna set this aside while it gets nice and yeasty. Now we take our flour. This is also my first experience with a kitchen mixer. Okay, now take this yeasty water, put it right into our mixing bowl. Seriously, this is my first time turning one of these on, so. Something not going, oh. Okay, 1 to 2 minutes around this speed-ish, and then we're gonna crank it up to a little bit higher speed for 5 to 7 minutes. Mixer's not quite getting the edges here. Okay, now we're gonna crank it up a little bit for 5 to 7 minutes. Kinda nervous about this thing. Really hard to tell if it's working. It looks like dough, but there's a lot of dry spots on the bottom. All right, now it's starting to look like dough. Now it's starting to actually work. Maybe this thing's too big. Is a 6-quart KitchenAid mixer too big for 500 grams worth of flour for pizza dough? Because it's not really like scooping the bottom of the bowl. I keep having to use this dumb spatula to get down there and get underneath it. God damn it, it's just not getting the bottom. Now we're gonna oil up a little Tupperware bucket here. It's been about 7 minutes, and compared to our apple pie adventure, this is a lot easier on the shoulders. So now we're gonna drop this thing. I'm no dough expert, but looks like dough to me. So now we're gonna take this dough out of here as best we can. I should have put some oil on my hand. Really should have put some oil on my hand. Get in. I'm not sure if this is bad protocol or not, but I would put a little oil on your hand before you reach into a bucket of dough. Now we're gonna let this sit in this bucket, covered up. Did I get the wrong lid? Oh no, that was just the wrong way. All right, now we have our dough in our covered Tupperware with a little bit of oil in it. We're gonna let this sit at room temperature for 8 to 12 hours. It's probably gonna take me that long to clean this hand off, so I will see you then. Okay, out of the fridge comes the dough. We did a bulk fermenting process at room temp for about 12 hours, and then we did another 36 hours in the fridge, and the dough rose like a slow breaching whale. Now we're gonna take our dough onto a clean, workable surface. Dough cutter, aim for about 230 grams on a scale. 245, close enough. Next up, we're gonna attempt to form some balls out of these dough piles. So start by mashing it down. According to YouTube, we left thumb in, flip it over. And kind of work clockwise as the dough gets a little more firm, a little harder. Okay, now it's a little ball. Take the sides of your palms and slowly work this thing around. Not exactly looking like a pro ball, but okay, missed a step there. We're gonna take some flour and flour our little dough ball dish here. That way when we're making the balls, we have somewhere for them to go instead of just sitting on the counter. Okay, let's try this again. I think we let that dough get a little bit too warm, so we put it back in the fridge, got it nice and cold again, and now we're gonna try to make this happen really quickly. Dough ball 1. Okay, ball number 2 wasn't as clean as ball 1, but we're going for ball 3 now. Bam, ball 3. Okay, now we're gonna cover these up to proof for a couple hours. I don't really know what's going on, but in everything I've watched or tried to figure out how to make this, the dough does not stick to the chef's hands, and mine seems like I just ripped both hands out of a white swamp, just covered in dough. So I don't know if I did something wrong here, but we're gonna see. We're gonna let these proof for a couple hours and then we'll get them ready to cook. Okay, while our pizza dough balls continue to proof, we're gonna get involved with some sauce. Can of tomatoes. Add a couple pinches of salt to it. Take an immersion blender into her and just give it some pulses. Okay, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure you don't want this too thick. So just a few pulses, leave it kind of chunky. Pretty good. Canned tomatoes and some salt make a good snack. And here we have our spaceship, a Gozney Roccbox. This little thing is gonna fire our pizza this afternoon, and it's as easy as flipping on your propane tank, waddling your way over to the other side, and then just twisting this knob to fire it. Now that's gonna get about 800 degrees-ish, and we're gonna fire a pizza. Okay, we're done with our dough proofing marathon. Kind of ran into each other a little bit, but they are looking pretty pillowy. So we're gonna get these things ready with a big bowl of flour to dunk them in. Okay, now let's get messy. We're gonna flour up these hands, take our proofed pizza balls, and they're feeling very light, into our bowl of flour, both sides. Hit it with the palm of your hand and then start to work it out. And I'm actually really hopeful there's a pizza dough wizard somewhere out there that can comment and let me know if maybe I didn't have enough flour in it at first and that's why it's a little sticky. So, I don't know. Okay, now let's really get tricky. Now we're working. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right, scratch that one. Well, that happened, so let's try this again. Dough ball number 2. Okay, to remove the air bubbles in here, we've just learned, give it a few spanks. Good spanking. Flour on this guy. See how we do here. Really trying to not turn this into a calzone. Okay. I was dancing with danger there. It's my first pizza from scratch. It will get better. A lot of what I've researched, people make the pizza on the counter here and then slide this thing underneath, but I'm gonna make it on top. A little less chance for ruining this whole deal. So, a little sauce. Next up, buffalo mozzarella. Give it some tears. Spread it around this baby. Basil. Okay, last ingredient, little touch of EVOO. To the fire we go. Confidently slide this thing off. I have no idea how this is gonna go, but we're gonna get it in this oven one way or another. Oh, kind of lost it. Oh, it's stuck on the thing. Shocking. We're gonna have to go at that again. Okay, I think this is pretty important, but make sure you got a little shimmy there. Make sure you get a little slide before you toss this baby into the oven. Oh, You need that slide, otherwise it's just coming back with this. Now we need to turn her, otherwise that back is just gonna burn. Ooh, that's hot. Ow, that's hot. We're cooking at about 800 degrees right now, and it's roughly every 15 to 20 seconds, give that thing a little spin. So we're looking for about 90 seconds total time here. That's how fast this thing cooks a pizza. Finished product. Here's where the perseverance pays off. Look at that little guy. Airy, light Neapolitan pizza. From the comfort of your own home, pizza that will knock your pants right off. Thank you, Gozney Roccbox. There you go. That was kind of a marathon meal, but we made our first pizza from scratch, and they will get better and they will get easier. Thanks for watching.